Welcome back to the ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the explosive revelations brewing in Port Charles as November sweeps. Promise to unravel the mystery of who shot Drew Cain, potentially exposing shocking alliances and betrayals that could reshape the city's power dynamics. In the shadowy underbelly of Port Charles General Hospital, spoilers for November are teasing a bombshell reveal that could finally identify the enigmatic shooter who targeted Drew Cain, leaving fans on the edge of their seats with anticipation. While initial suspicions heavily pointed toward Willow Tate as the prime culprit given her tangled personal connections and emotional volatility, this straightforward assumption feels almost too tidy, like a cleverly planted distraction designed to mislead investigators and viewers alike. What if the real perpetrator is the oily, ambitious Ezra Boyle? A name conspicuously absent from the official suspect roster despite his penchant for underhanded maneuvers. With a roster of potential culprits ranging from vengeful family members to shadowy business rivals, Ezra's omission stands out as the ultimate clue, perhaps the very smoking gun that points to his guilt in this high-stakes drama. As the plot thickens, eagle-eyed fans are dissecting every cameo and conversation, wondering if the writers are masterfully building toward a twist that redefines the entire investigation. Delving deeper into Ezra's shadowy presence, let's examine his potential role in this crime. Since his debut back in March, Ezra Boyle has lurked on the fringes of Port Charles society, appearing just often enough to stir trouble with his bombastic rants and unapologetic sleaze. Picture him as the quintessential political wild card. A man whose fiery speeches drip with charisma yet hide a core of ruthless ambition. Always one step away from crossing ethical lines. As Laura Collins' fierce rival in the upcoming mayoral race, Ezra embodies the kind of cutthroat competitor who thrives on chaos, spewing vitriol that flies like sparks from a malfunctioning engine. It's no coincidence that the show has sidelined him from the suspect list. In soap opera logic, such deliberate oversight screams ulterior motives. This exclusion isn't mere oversight. It's a narrative breadcrumb trail leading straight to his possible involvement. Imagine the irony. A candidate preaching law and order while potentially orchestrating a violent cover-up. Fans have long speculated about Ezra's backstory, perhaps rooted in a gritty upbringing that hardened him into a master manipulator, now using his campaign as a smoke-yacht screen for darker deeds. If the writers amplify his screen time this sweeps period, it could signal the unmasking of a villain who's been hiding in plain sight, turning the election into a battlefield of secrets and lies. At the heart of this intrigue lies Ezra's audacious bid for mayor. A race that's not just about policy, but raw power grabs in Port Charles' volatile landscape. Laura Collins, with her impeccable record of public service and unyielding moral compass, represents stability and hope for the community. But Ezra positions himself as the bold reformer ready to shake up the status quo. Though his methods often veer into the ethically gray, this rivalry isn't isolated. It's intertwined with broader machinations where Ezra and Drew Cain appear to share a clandestine agenda aimed at dismantling Sonny Corinto's iron grip on the city's underworld. Sonny, ever the kingpin with his web of loyalties and vendettas, has long been a thorn in the side of ambitious players. Like Drew, who seeks to leverage his business acumen and military-honed instincts to forge new alliances. Enter Jen Sidwell, the enigmatic newcomer, whose loyalties remain tantalizingly ambiguous. Is she a genuine partner in their plot or a double agent sowing discord from within? The trio's strategy unfolds like a chess game. First, secure Ezra's mayoral victory to control local governance, then use that leverage to erode Sonny's influence through legal and illicit channels alike. Yet, cracks in this facade are emerging, particularly as the shooting disrupts their timeline, forcing Ezra to improvise in ways that could expose the entire operation. This political thriller aspect elevates the storyline, blending election year drama with classic soap suspense, where every debate and endorsement hides a potential double cross. A pivotal twist in the investigation centers on Justinda Bracken, whose role as Michael Carantho's supposed alibi for the night of Drew's shooting is unraveling faster than a poorly knit sweater. Chase, the diligent detective with his sharp intuition and unwavering pursuit of justice, uncovers a damning connection. This week, Justinda wasn't tucked away with Michael at all, but entangled in a late-night rendezvous with none other than Ezra Bull himself. This revelation shatters Michael's defense, thrusting him back into the suspect spotlight and amplifying suspicions that the shooting was an inside job tied to the mayoral power play. Justinda, portrayed as a glamorous yet opportunistic figure with a history of navigating Port Charles elite circles, might have been coerced or compensated to provide false testimony. Her loyalty bought with promises of favors from Ezra's rising star. Delve into her psyche. Perhaps she's a woman jaded by the city's cutthroat social scene, willing to trade truths for security. Or maybe she's playing her own long game, using the scandal to climb higher. If Ezra pulled the trigger motivated by fears that Drew was wavering in their alliance or becoming a liability, he could have summoned Justinda to his opulent hotel suite post-crime, fabricating an airtight alibi under the guise of a passionate affair. The optics are devastating. A mayoral hopeful entangled in scandal. His campaign tainted by whispers of bribery and violence. This layer adds psychological depth, exploring themes of deception and the blurred lines between personal indiscretions and criminal acts as Chase's probing questions peel back the layers of lies. What truly electrifies this narrative is the confirmed link between Ezra and Jinda, a relationship that's been subtly hinted at through fleeting glances and coded conversations, now exploding into full view amid the chaos. Poor Charles gossip mills are buzzing with theories. Were they longtime accomplices in Ezra's shady dealings? Or is this a fresh entanglement born of desperation? Established canon reveals they've crossed paths before, perhaps in the dimly lit backrooms of political fundraisers where deals are struck away from prying eyes. Red-hot spoilers suggest the shooting's truth is far more labyrinthine than initial reports indicate, with layers of misdirection that could implicate half the town. Picture the fallout. If Ezra's guilt surfaces, his marred dreams crumble under The weight of felony charges, handing Laura an unchallenged path to victory. And sending ripples through Sunny's empire. Yet, the definitely maybe hangs in the air. Will Ezra slither away with his secret intact? Or will November's climactic confrontations force a confession that shatters alliances forever? Next, we will learn about the explosive revelations surrounding Michael Corinthos and the mysterious circumstances of Drew Cain's shooting. In the shadowy underbelly of Port Charles, intrepid Detective Harrison Chase is poised to unravel a web of deception involving Michael Corinthos and his alleged accomplice, Justinda Bracken, concerning that fateful night when Drew Cain was gunned down. Whispers among the elite circles suggest Michael might have pulled the trigger himself, his behavior turning suspiciously evasive as he even contemplates pinning the blame on his former spouse to shield his secrets. This isn't mere paranoia. Michael's recent brush with destiny, a devastating inferno that scorched over % of his body in his father's sunny Corinth's opulent penthouse, has reshaped him in profound ways, leaving scars both visible and hidden that hint at a man teetering on the edge of moral collapse. Picture the chaos, flames licking at his skin, the acrid smoke choking his lungs, as he clawed his way to survival, only to emerge forever altered. This year alone has been a gauntlet for Michael, marked by the blistering agony of that fire, the heartbreaking dissolution of his marriage to Willow Tate amid whispers of betrayal, and the gut-wrenching separation from his beloved children, W.Y. and Amelia, whose innocent faces haunt his every sleepless night. Could these relentless trials have forged Michael into a brooding anti-hero? One with the cold resolve to commit such a heinous act as murder? The evidence mounts, painting a portrait of a once noble heir to the Corinthos empire now entangled in darkness. His decisions echoing the ruthless legacy of his family. As fans, we've watched Michael's arc twist from devoted family man to a figure shrouded in suspicion, his eyes hardening with each setback, raising the chilling question, has the fire not just burned his flesh, but ignited a killer within? We're on the cusp of discovery where loyalties shatter and truths emerge from the ashes. Chase, ever the steadfast guardian of justice, has zeroed in on Michael as the prime suspect in Drew's assault, dismissing any notion that Willow Tate could be implicated in such violence. His unwavering pursuit of the facts has unearthed irrefutable evidence, debunking the alibi that Michael and Jacinda clung to so desperately, proving they were nowhere near each other when the shots rang out in the dim streets of Port Charles. Imagine Chase poring over surveillance footage under the flicker of his desk lamp, cross-referencing timelines with the precision of a surgeon, his jaw set in determination as patterns of deceit crystallized before him. The upcoming General Hospital preview for the week of November th to St teases a dramatic confrontation where Chase declares with ironclad conviction Michael handed the authorities a fabricated story, and I've got the receipts to back it up. This isn't just detective work. It's a crusade against the Corinthos clan's impenetrable fortress of lies, where every loose thread Chase pulls risks unraveling the entire fabric of Michael's carefully constructed facade. Delving deeper, the inconsistencies in Michael's account vague recollections of his evening. Evasive glances during interrogations point to a man desperate to bury his tracks, perhaps driven by a volatile mix of resentment toward Drew's rising influence in the Quartermain, business dealings or unresolved family grudges that simmer beneath the surface. Chase's breakthrough doesn't just challenge the alibi. It exposes a potential conspiracy, forcing viewers to question if Jacinda's involvement was coerced or if she too harbors motives tied to poor Charles's cutthroat political undercurrents. Persistent buzz in the fan community swirls around Jacinda's true whereabouts that night, with speculation mounting that she might have been entangled in a clandestine rendezvous with the ambitious city councilman Oza Bull, whose own shadowy dealings could tie into the broader intrigue. Envision the scene. Jacinda slipping away under the cover of night, her heels clicking against the cobblestones toward Boyle's upscale townhouse where deals are struck in hush tones over glasses of aged scotch. Far from the chaos of Drew's shooting as the storyline unfolds, we'll witness the unraveling of this rumor, perhaps through a surprise witness or a forgotten receipt that places her at Bull's side, discussing everything from zoning reforms to personal alliances that threaten the status quo in port. Charles Boyle himself, with his silver tongued charisma and rumored ties to underground financing, adds layers of complexity. Could his presence with Jacinda be innocent, or does it mask a deeper plot involving corporate espionage against the Quartermains? This revelation not only clears Jacinda's path, but ignites a firestorm of political fallout as Boyle's reputation hangs in the balance, potentially dragging in other power players like the ever-scheming Ava Jerome or the calculating Nina Reeves. For Michael, it's a double-edged sword. While it distances Jacinda, it spotlights his isolation, amplifying the scrutiny on his solo actions that evening and hinting at a lone wolf motive, fueled by personal vendettas. Yet, let's pause amid the drama to underscore a vital truth. Fabricating an alibi, no matter how elaborate, doesn't equate to wielding the gun that felt a symptom of fear, not necessarily guilt. Michael's deception might stem from a frantic bid to protect something innocuous, like a late-night meeting with a shady informant about Sonny's latest dealings, rather than a confession to violence. However, the repercussions ripple far beyond the investigation, striking at the heart of his personal empire with full custody of Willow's children, W.Y. Corinthos and a toddler Amelia. Corinthos already a hard-won victory amid his marital implosion. Any whiff of perjury could summon the courts like vultures, threatening to strip him of the only pure joy in his turbulent life. Visualize the custody hearing. Stern judges poring over affidavit. Willow's terror-streaked testimony echoing through the courtroom as Michael's empire crumbles under the weight of his own choices, forcing him to confront how his secrets endanger the very family he claims to cherish. W.Y. with his wide-eyed curiosity about his grandfather Sonny's world and Amelia's gentle cows that once soothed Michael's burns now become pawns in a battle where one like could orphan them from their father's arms. This custody peril isn't abstract. It's a ticking bomb intertwined with Michael's emotional descent, where protecting his kids clashes with the corrosive pull of the Corinthos legacy urging him toward redemption or ruin. The fallout escalates when Michael discovers Chase's meddling, transforming their familial ties into a powder keg, ready to ignite. As the husband of Michael's cousin, Brooklyn Quartermaine, Chase isn't just an investigator, he's family, residing under the same sprawling roof of the Quartermaine mansion, where opulent chandeliers mask the brewing storms of resentment. If Michael views Chase as a betrayer, the backlash could be ferocious. From icy glares across the dinner table to outright confrontations in the manicured gardens, where old alliances fracture under the strain of suspicion, General Hospital's tantalizing spoilers tease mounting friction within the Q estate, where whispered arguments echo through marble halls and slam doors signal the unraveling of unity, pulling in luminaries like Ned Quartermaine or Tracy, whose meddling could either diffuse or detonate the tension. Michael's lash-out might manifest as a calculated verbal assault, leveraging his Corinthos connections to undermine Chase's career, or something more primal, a heated shove in the heat of the moment that draws the entire household into chaos. This domestic powder keg highlights the show's mastery of interpersonal drama, where blood ties amplify every betrayal, forcing characters to navigate loyalty amid the labyrinth of Port Charles's endless intrigues and leading fans breathless for the next explosive twist. As tensions simmer in the Quartermaine stronghold, the ripple effects could ensnare the whole of Port Charles, with Sonny's protective instincts flaring if he senses his son's peril, potentially reigniting old feuds with the police force. Chase's probe, while Noble walks a razor's edge. His devotion to truth might isolate him even from Brooklyn, whose Quartermaine loyalties could waver under family pressure, creating heartbreaking rifts that test the strength of their marriage. Inventive layers emerge here. Perhaps Chase uncovers a hidden recording from that night, not of Michael, but of a mysterious figure lurking in the shadows, suggesting a third party with ties to the Casadini legacy, injecting international espionage into the mix. This analysis of motives reveals Michael's complexity. He's not a cartoon villain, but a man scarred by loss whose lies might protect a greater good, like shielding his children from the Corinthos world's dangers, even as it propels him toward isolation. The Q mansion, once a bastion of wealth and whimsy, now stands as a microcosm of the show's themes: power's corrupting allure, the fragility of trust, and the relentless pursuit of justice in a town where everyone has secrets. GH fans, the suspense is unbearable. Do you believe Michael Corinthos harbors the darkness to have shot Drew Kane? Or is this a smoky-ox screen for someone else's malice? And is Chase's rogue investigation a heroic stand against corruption, or an overreach that invites disaster upon his own doorstep? Next, we will learn about the brewing drama surrounding Portia Robinson's unexpected pregnancy and how family meddler Stella Henry might unravel everything in Port Charles. In the bustling heart of General Hospital, whispers of new life are stirring among the staff, with Stella Henry's keen intuition leading the charge. Recently, the sharp-eyed nurse, known for her no-nonsense wisdom, pieced together clues that Portia Robinson is carrying a child. A revelation Curtis Ashford couldn't help but confirm during a tense family chat. Stella, ever the devoted and with a soft spot for happy endings, has wasted no time in advocating for Curtis and Portia to patch up their rocky marriage, emphasizing that a baby changes everything and deserves a stable home from day one. Her interventions aren't just casual nudges. They're heartfelt pleas drawn from years of watching Port Charles families fracture under pressure, like the time she mediated between the court remains during one of their infamous feuds. Yet, this push comes at a risky time as Portia's personal life teeters on the edge of exposure with secrets that could shatter alliances in your Carters. Stella Henry's character stands out in the soap opera tapestry of Port Charles as a beacon of genuine goodwill. The kind of figure who brews strong coffee for weary colleagues and offers unsolicited but spot-on advice during lunch breaks. She's the glue that holds disparate groups together. From chatting with nurses about weekend plans to sharing laughs with doctors over chart mishaps, her warmth bridging generational gaps effortlessly. Fans of General Hospital often debate the merits of Curtis and Portia's union. Some see it as a toxic mismatch fueled by past betrayals, while others root for redemption amid the drama. But Stella's motivations are purely altruistic, rooted in her belief that love can conquer even the deepest wounds. Picture her in a quiet moment at the Ashford family table, gently reminding Curtis of the vows they exchanged under brighter skies, urging him to envision diaper changes and playgrounds instead of courtrooms and custody battles. This maternal drive adds layers to her role, transforming her from a side character into a pivotal force. Much like how she once steered Trina through her identity crisis, proving her knack for fostering unity in chaos. The interconnected web of the hospital setting amplifies the potential for disaster. Estella, Portia, and the enigmatic Isaiah Guinan navigate overlapping shifts in the high-stakes world of patient care. With Stella's desk just steps from Portia's office and Isaiah's rounds frequently crossing paths in the maternity ward, casual conversations could easily veer into forbidden territory. Imagine a hurried staff meeting where Stella, beaming with excitement over the pregnancy news, lets slip a comment, while passing Portia a clipboard, her words echoing slightly in the sterile halls, or perhaps during a coffee run with Curtis in the cafeteria. Stella's animated storytelling about family legacies draws unintended ears. This environment, rife with buzzing pagers and overlapping dialogues, mirrors classic soap tropes where proximity breeds peril, heightening the suspense as alliances form and fracture under fluorescent lights. Adding to the intrigue, Isaiah's recent integration into the team is calm demeanor, hiding a sharper curiosity positions imperfectly to catch fragments of truth, turning everyday interactions into minefields of revelation. Soap operas thrive on the thrill of unintended disclosures where a stray word overheard in a hallway can ignite a firestorm of conflict and Port Charles is no exception to this timeless formula. Secrets rarely stay buried. Here, they bubble up through eaves droppers lurking around corners, much like the infamous eavesdropping that exposed Sonny Corinth's mob ties years ago, sending ripples through the entire town. In Portia's case, the pregnancy bombshell fits this mold seamlessly, with Isaiah Guinan as the unwitting catalyst. His presence in the hospital a constant reminder of Portia's hidden indiscretions. If he catches wind of the news, perhaps lingering near the nurses' station during a shift change, the fallout could be explosive, forcing characters to confront buried emotions and tangled loyalties in ways that redefine their futures. Should Isaiah stumble upon the pregnancy revelation, the immediate aftermath would likely unfold in a whirlwind of confusion and confrontation, testing Portia's composure in the face of her past deceptions. Hearing that Portia is expecting Curtis Ashford's child might initially stun him, but his analytical mind, honed from years in medicine, could swiftly connect the dots to their steamy affair, recalling stolen moments in empty on-call rooms or late-night texts that blurred professional lines. Would he storm into Portia's office, demanding answers with a mix of hurt and fury, insisting that Curtis deserves the unvarnished truth about the child's possible parentage? Or might he simmer quietly at first, piecing together timelines from prenatal visits and shared shifts, only to erupt during a heated argument in the parking lot? This scenario draws parallels to past general hospital arcs like the paternity scandals surrounding Carly and Jax, where revelations led to courtroom dramas and fractured friendships, underscoring how one overheard whisper can dismantle carefully constructed facades. Portia's history with pregnancy cover-ups adds a delicious layer of tension as she navigates this dilemma with the same cunning that shielded Trina Robinson's origins from public scrutiny during her own turbulent youth. Back then, Portia wove a web of half-truths to protect her daughter from judgment, prioritizing optics over honesty in a town quick to gossip. And now she might employ similar tactics to convince Isaiah that the timing simply doesn't align with their fling. Picture her in a dimly lit break room, eyes wide, with fignet innocence, spinning a narrative about fertility treatments or miscalculated dates. Her voice steadied, despite the knot of guilt twisting inside. Yet Isaiah isn't easily swayed. His background as a principled newcomer could lead him to press for a paternity test, dragging Curtis into the fray and exposing cracks in the Ashford-Robinson marriage that Stella fought so hard to mend. This internal conflict for Portia, balancing her desire for a picture-perfect family image against the raw pull of accountability, highlights her evolution from a secretive surgeon to a woman grappling with the consequences of her choices in a spotlight that never dims. Beyond the pregnancy, the hospital's rumor mill could unearth even graver secrets, with Stella Henry potentially uncovering the full scope of Portia and Isaiah's illicit romance through a misplaced file or an overheard phone call in the locker room. Stella's loyalty runs deep, especially to her nephew Curtis, whose heart she shielded from betrayals before, like during his recovery from the Metro Court shooting, when family bonds were all that kept him afloat. Would she confront Portia directly? Her face a mask of disappointment mixed with reluctant understanding, urging her to come clean before the truth poisons everything. Or might she bury the knowledge, confiding only in a trusted confidant like Epiphany Johnson, weighing the pain of disclosure against the devastation of silence? This moral quandary elevates Stella, portraying her not just as a meddler, but as a guardian of fragile peace. Her decisions rippling outward to affect hospital dynamics and family gatherings alike. The overarching question lingers like a storm cloud over General Hospital. Will Stella's enthusiasm for the pregnancy lead to an accidental leak that pulls Isaiah deeper into the web? Envision a scenario where, during a routine inventory check, Stella chats animatedly with Portia about baby names and nursery ideas. Her voice carrying just far enough for Isaiah to pause mid-stride, his expression shifting from professional detachment to dawning realization. If he learns not only of the baby, but of his potential role as father, the confrontation could escalate into a full-blown crisis, with accusations flying in the O lounge and Curtis left reeling from yet another layer of deception, Portia's attempts at manipulation. Perhaps a tearful plea, framing Isaiah as a fleeting mistake, might buy time. But in Port Charles, truths have a way of surfacing, often at the worst possible moment, forcing characters to rebuild from the ashes of their secrets. As fans eagerly await the next twist, this storyline promises heartbreak, redemption, and a kind of soapy intensity that keeps us glued to our screens. English, auto-generated.